Hello there everyone, it's Aidan here from Push Square and I'm here to talk about the best games heading to PS5 in March of 2024. February was a surprisingly packed month and I'm not gonna lie, a couple of bigger games slipped past me. But March is equally as impressive and I'm here to break down 10 of the biggest PS5 games that you should keep an eye on this month. We're starting out with Expeditions, a mud runner game, which is one of those super realistic cart your vehicle over difficult terrain sims. Now, there is something in this game that's kind of appealing to me, and that's as someone that's not usually into the sim genre. In this one, you have expansive open worlds to explore with both an Arizona and Carpathian setting, and you'll use a variety of tools and your wits, of course, to somehow make it across deserts and forests. I mean, really at their heart, these are puzzle games in a way, as you plan out your route, apply a measure of tactics to your traversal, and try to keep things steady as you're faced with new challenges. Of course, there is that video game monkey brain part that allows you to customize and modify your very own truck, because what is a game without some form of progression in it? I still vividly remember playing Outlast for the first time on PS4. Me and my mates were huddled up in my tiny teenage bedroom. They always made me play and they would kill themselves laughing because I was a terrible scaredy cat at the time. But not anymore, guys. Let me tell you, I'm a big confident man now, so I'll have absolutely no issue at all playing through the Outlast Trials, an early access PC release that is finally making its way to PlayStation. Of course, to get my just revenge, Outlast Trials is actually a horror co-op multiplayer game, unlike the single player entries of the past. Now, there is still a campaign to work through and you can play it yourself if you want, but of course, why not drag those friends of mine through it too to see who's laughing then? I haven't really got the faintest Scooby when it comes to WWE, outside of a brief fling in my younger years. I mean, is Rey Mysterio still kicking about? But that doesn't mean that I can't enjoy beat 'em up fun with WWE 2K24. This one has Cody Rhodes as your cover star, a WrestleMania showcase to allow you to recreate iconic WWE moments, along with a bunch of new modes like guest referee and ambulance matches, and a My Rise career arc to work through as you work your way from recruit to WWE champion. There is a lot here for those that are really into their WWE, which I think you would expect from a game like this, but what I really like about these types of games is just aimlessly brutalizing my mates in chaotic fights, and WWE 2K24 is probably going to be the best new place to do that. An absolute icon of the PlayStation 2 era, Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection makes its way to PS5 this month. It brings 64 player online modes from both the first and second game, along with the Hero Assault modes. In this release, you can play the original campaigns in all of their glory, as well as the complete multiplayer modes and the strategy-inspired Galactic Conquest. And to keep it that bit extra old school, there will also be split-screen multiplayer as well. I know these are big classics in the eyes of many, and I have some very vague memories of playing these back in the day. It was definitely in my remit though, as a huge fan of Revenge of the Sith of all games, so it'll be really interesting to try out the one that really started it all. Now this is really interesting. Hi-Fi Rush, a previous Xbox exclusive, is making its way to PS5. This rhythm-based game from Tango Gameworks is part of Microsoft's new multi-plat experiment, let's call it that. And it's one of the 4 Xbox games making their way to other platforms, so PS5 players can finally check out what was hailed as a beat-dropping banger by our mates over at Pure Xbox. This one is actually a musical experience as you fight enemies to the beat of the drum pretty much, with some really rock and roll moments. Music is a great way to really make you feel attuned to the gameplay experience, and I for one am really looking forward to checking this one out as someone that obviously didn't touch the Xbox release. We've got another sporting experience for March with MLB The Show 24, which, if you didn't know, is the go-to baseball experience. Carve out your very own legend as you play your favourite characters in this immersive experience, which, to be honest, we do not know an awful lot about as of recording, but these tend to bring some upgrades from the year before, so you can hopefully expect an improved version of MLB The Show 2023. This is another title to call back to its history, looking back at some of the sporting leagues and iconic players, so similar to WWE, if you're a fan of MLB in real life, then hopefully this one will be for you. Alone in the Dark is actually a reimagining of the 1990s survival horror series, this time starring none other than David Harbour from Stranger Things and Jodie Comer from Killing Eve. Together they are sent out to Dorsetto Manor to explore the setting, fight monsters, solve puzzles and uncover this manor's true secrets. Being a reimagining, this is an original tale but will incorporate characters and locations from the original 90s trilogy. But the devs at THQ Nordic say you don't have to have played the original to enjoy this. Honestly, from what I've seen, it looks a little bit janky in places, especially with the combat, but the story and setting are clearly the focus of this one, so if it can really zero in on those aspects, I think this is a game that I could enjoy quite a bit. If Baldur's Gate 3's turn-based combat puts you off its immersive RPG setting, then Dragon's Dogma 2 may be the better alternative. This has the expansive setting, builds to master, and journeys to craft with your own ragtag band of warriors, but it does so with real-time action combat, certainly spicing things up for the players like myself that like some frenetic gameplay in their lore-filled worlds. One of the coolest features in this game for me is the whole party system. Party members, or pawns as they're called, are just AI, but these NPC companions will have their own vocations, skills, weapons and more to make them feel like real players. What's really cool though is that when you're off the game, these NPCs can go off on their own adventures, and depending on what they do, let's say they kill a specific type of enemy, they can give you tips on how to beat that enemy when they're out in their next adventure with you. There's also a whole affinity system where NPCs will have relationships with other NPCs or even yourself, but I'll save that for another video. But just know that this is a pretty exciting action RPG. The very same day as Dragon's Dogma 2, we also have Rise of the Ronin, a PS5 exclusive from Team Ninja, the devs behind the Neo series and more recently Wolong. Set in 19th century Japan, this is an expansive open world experience where the age of the shogun is coming to an end as war arrives from the west. This is a combat focused experience as you would expect, so there will be a deep combat system that actually mixes close quarter weapons such as swords and spears with authentic period firearms. You know Team Ninja is going to do well in this department, but what I'm actually keen to see is how gripping the story or the world is. From what we've heard, the story is said to include choices that will change how it all unfolds, which is certainly intriguing. Last but by no means least, we have another South Park game. Snow Day is a 3D co-op game where the new kid, along with Cartman, Stan, Kenny and Kyle, try to save the town which has been overcome by a blizzard. You can play the game on your own or with up to 3 other players, experimenting with different weapons, abilities and powers. These games have always been a little bit more in-depth than I think anyone ever expects them to be, and it seems as though that is the case once more with Snow Day. These just look like a fun, casual time, and even better if you're a fan of the long-running TV show, or at this point I suppose a long-running game series. And those are the 10 biggest games coming to PS5 in March of 2024. Let me know which of these you're most excited to try out down in the comments below. And while you're there, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more PlayStation video content. Anyway, thank you as always for watching, and until next time, I've been Aaron, and this has been Push Square.